We all dream of having more money than we can ever spend. It must be great to never have to worry about your spending. But have you ever noticed that many billionaires are, well, pretty weird? Seriously, a whole lot of the world's richest people spend their time doing things no normal person would ever think of. Sure, we can't know for certain if they are always like that. They may have been weirdos from birth, or maybe they're there just to show us that having too much money makes you go a little crazy. We'll never know the cause, but these filthy rich people definitely aren't normal. In this video, we'll count down to some of the most bizarre billionaires who have ever lived. Keep watching to the end. I guarantee you don't want to miss any of this. Let's get to it. Number 14. Prince Al-Walid. These days, royalty seems like something from an ancient past, and Prince Al-Walid is here to show us why we feel that way. As Saudi royalty, he was born filthy rich, but he made a couple of clever investments along the way to make himself even richer. He's now worth about 20 billion, which seems impossible, but you've probably already guessed he spends that money on something crazy. It's dwarfs. Prince Al-Walid seems to think being small is the funniest thing on earth, so he hires people with dwarfism to entertain him. On a good day, they have to behave like court jesters, like royalty used to enjoy in the Middle Ages, but he can be pretty cruel. He also hosts competitions to see who can throw his dwarves the furthest, and he thinks it's okay because he provides a pillow for them to land on. He's also allegedly thrown money into a fire and made the dwarves pull it out before it burns, even if it meant they burn themselves doing it. Yeah, it's as terrible as it sounds. Number 13. Ingvar Kamprad. There are billionaires like Sheikh Hamad who spend loads of money on useless things. Then there are billionaires like Ingvar Kamprad. He made his fortune by starting IKEA at the age of just 17. But that must be the age he's still at in his head, because he's as tight-fisted with his money as your average poor student. He's well known for staying at budget hotels, flying in economy class, and using the subway. He does have a car, but it's a pretty old Volvo. No flashy sports car like you see other billionaires driving. But his obsession with saving money gets worse. According to one documentary, he only buys his clothes from flea markets. He even waits until visiting an underdeveloped country to have his hair cut because they charge less. He won't take anything from a minibar in a hotel, and he's even been known to steal salt and pepper packets from restaurants. Plus, he recycles tea bags, which seems like an insane thing to do if you're worth several $billion. You should keep an eye out just after the holidays. You'll probably spot him buying presents at the post-Christmas sales. And no, that's not a joke. Number 12. John Fredrickson. You might not expect someone who's worked in the pretty boring shipping industry to be eccentric, but John Fredrickson, aka Viking King, will surprise you. Not only has he narrowly avoided serious conflict between himself and the entire country of Iran, he has some pretty strange approaches to business, often making make-or-break decisions only on a gut instinct. No deep analysis or a team of advisors looking for the possible pitfalls. It's all about his gut feeling for him. He also hates computers. Instead, he stores tons of paper documents on his companies in a collection of 19 suitcases. It seems to work for him. He was, for a time, the richest person in Norway until he fled the country for tax reasons. Number 11. Salvatore Cerreto. I should mention that Salvatore Cerreto is technically only a multi-millionaire property owner, not a billionaire. But this story is so weird, I just couldn't leave it out of this list. A couple years ago, several businesses in one Australian town were having problems with someone pooping on their doorsteps. Finally, a restaurant owner installed surveillance cameras to watch the culprit, but they were shocked to discover that the culprit was Cerreto. Why would a multi-millionaire spend his time doing his business in front of other people's businesses? He claims he had a good reason, but never said what it was. Number 10. Stuart Rahr. Stuart Rahr has proclaimed himself to be the #1 king of all fun, which gives you a pretty good idea of what he's like. The pharmaceutical billionaire in his 70s is well known for sending out email blasts featuring photos of himself partying with naked women to his huge list of influential contacts. It also seems like some of those photos featured a naked Rahr too. In 2010, he got himself banned from the popular sushi chain Nobu. Then, within just 10 days, he allegedly pulled a gun on an elevator operator in Trump Tower. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital as a result. He's also known for his generous philanthropy, so it's not all bad. Number 9. Ion Tiriac. Ion Tiriac is a special brand of billionaire. He started out as a professional tennis star, winning the prestigious French Open in 1970, and an Olympic ice hockey star, which is pretty rare. He made most of his fortune by opening the first bank in Romania after the end of communism. He's also involved in retail, insurance, cars, airlines, and tennis player management. He's earned himself nicknames like Count Dracula by never smiling, and he used to be well known for eating 6 steaks, 4 plates of pasta, and 12 eggs for breakfast. But the New York Times summed him up best when they said, "This man has been to places most people do not imagine exist." Number 8. Ivan Shrenko. Ivan Shrenko might be the world's weirdest billionaire, but we'll never know because nobody gets to talk to him. Even when he made the Forbes list of billionaires, he declined to talk about himself. Incredibly, we almost don't even know what he looks like. There's only one photo of him online. Basically, unless you want to get involved in a very expensive real estate deal, you'll never get to talk to him. Makes you wonder if he even exists. Think it doesn't get any weirder than that? You're so wrong. Keep watching and you'll see. Number 7. Clive Palmer. Clive Palmer made his fortune off coal and iron ore, but the way he made his money isn't his eccentric side. For that, you need to look at what he's spending it on. You won't believe it, but his expenses basically boil down to 2 things: a new Titanic and dinosaurs. You heard that right. I said dinosaurs. In 2013, he opened Palmasaurus Park, which is exactly what it sounds like, a park filled with animatronic dinosaurs. Don't bother checking it out though. He charges over $100 for a family of 5 to get in. The neighbors aren't too happy about it either. Apparently, they can't sleep because the dinos roar constantly. As for his Titanic dream, he planned to build Titanic 2 and actually sail it. When asked why, he basically answered, "Because I can." But he hasn't. It was meant to be completed by 2018, but still hasn't materialized, which might be a good thing. Number 6. Nicholas Berggruen. You've heard of people having to sleep in their cars, but I bet you've never heard of someone homeless sleeping in their private jet. But that's exactly what Nicholas Berggruen did. Nicholas is the son of Heinz Berggruen, the famous art collector and one-time lover of Frida Kahlo. Nicholas invested some of his dad's money to make his fortune, but one day he decided he didn't like having so much stuff, and he simply sold it all, including his houses. He lived as a nomad, hopping from one 5-star hotel to the other and sleeping in his jet. The weirdness doesn't stop there though. This philosophy seems to go back a long way. At the age of 15, he wrote up a constitution for a working utopian city. Today, he invests loads of money into strange think tanks to try to fix the broken system of governance. He did finally buy a $40 million California house in 2017. Number 5. Robert Clark Graham. Robert Clark Graham is the failed mad scientist of billionaires. Amazingly, he somehow made his fortune by inventing shatterproof lenses for eyeglasses. But then he did something insane. He decided to start a sperm bank that would hopefully create super genius babies. How? Well, by only stocking sperm from Nobel laureates. Unfortunately, he hadn't considered that most Nobel Prize winners are pretty old, so they're not the best candidates for donating sperm. When he realized that, he quickly switched to hunting down ordinary geniuses that had nothing to do with Nobel Prizes. Still, the company didn't survive very long. They did produce 217 children, and some have come forward now that they're adults. They want everyone to know that they don't believe genetics have much to do with their intelligence. Instead, they're giving credit to their parents for raising them well, which must really annoy Graham. Number 4. Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan. Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan is a member of the Abu Dhabi's royal family, so you just know he's so wealthy that it's hard to spend it all. But a couple of years ago, he hit on the perfect idea to blow his money on. He bought himself a private island and hired people to write his name in the sand so it could be seen from space. The letters were half a mile high in the end, and now all the aliens know his name, Hamad. I'm just guessing that's why he did it. Or why else would you spend that much money on a project like that? What's the weirdest thing you'd spend your billions on? Let us know in the comments. Moving on. Number 3. Richard Branson. Even though Richard Branson is probably the most famous billionaire on this list, he seems pretty normal, right? Well, yes and no. Most of the time, the owner of Virgin just quietly does his thing. The weirdest thing about him seems to be that he likes setting demanding physical tasks for himself, which isn't something you often see lazy billionaires like doing. But there is one other thing. He seems to be really into playing dress-up. Alright, to be completely fair to him, that time he was photographed dressed as a mermaid was to help raise awareness for World Oceans Day. But that doesn't help explain the time he dressed up as a bride, or the time he dressed up as a flight attendant, or the time he was a pirate, or the Easter Bunny costume. Yeah, I guess he's not as normal as we thought. But then again, if you had that kind of money, we'd probably also want to live every day like it's Halloween. Number 2. Mark Zuckerberg. Another super famous billionaire of our times, Mark Zuckerberg, is nothing like the seemingly calm Branson. Everyone on Earth knows Zuckerberg is weird. Despite being worth about $72 billion, Zuckerberg presents himself as an anti-billionaire. He once even did a presentation titled "The Top 10 Reasons Why You Should Not Invest" to a group of investors while wearing his pajamas. He's also absolutely obsessed with smoked meat, as the thousands of memes on social media will prove. In fact, meat is one of his main personality traits. He made headlines a couple years ago when he publicly stated that he only eats meat if he killed the animal himself. He had more than his fair share of attention from internet communities for his weird behavior, like when he was filmed wearing ear protectors while practicing the notably silent sport of spear throwing, or the time he thought he could disguise himself with sunscreen while surfing on a $10,000 board. We also all know he always wears the same informal clothes, no matter the occasion, and never changes his hairstyle. It's no wonder he wants everyone to join the metaverse. He just wants us all to be more like him. And finally, the weirdest billionaire of all time. Number 1. Howard Hughes. If you think it can't get any weirder than what you've heard, strap in. I'm going to introduce to you Howard Hughes, possibly the most eccentric billionaire of all time. There isn't enough space in one list to tell you about how weird Hughes was, but I'll try. You'll already know Hughes. He's one of the most famous Hollywood directors of all time. He's also the creator of the Spruce Goose plane, which led him to being portrayed by Leonardo DiCaprio in Scorsese's film The Aviator. Hughes' films are noteworthy for so many reasons. He made the first ever film with synchronized sound. He accidentally caused the deaths of several people while filming. He even made what was then the most expensive film ever produced in Hollywood. He really loved planes, even setting an around-the-world flight record in 1935. In fact, he even died on one of his private jets, which more than proves his commitment to aviation. But before that happened, he was busy doing some really odd things. And they weren't just on his own time. During the Cold War, it was revealed that he was part of a CIA plot to uncover a Soviet submarine that suddenly sank in the Pacific Ocean while transferring several armed nuclear missiles. With Hughes' approval, the CIA claimed that the huge vessel they pulled up from the ocean floor was part of a new invention Hughes was using to mine minerals from the ocean floor. He was quite happy to be involved until a burglary took place, and documents were leaked to the media that revealed the true purpose of the submarine. But that wasn't what kicked off his insanity. 2 years earlier, he was living on the top floor of a Las Vegas hotel when he was asked to leave by staff because he was always behaving so strangely. Instead of accepting the request as anyone else would, he simply bought the entire hotel. A few years later, when he was living as a hermit in the hotel room, he got annoyed because no TV channels played movies in the middle of the night. So, he bought his own TV station to ensure he always had something to watch. By the way, he was living like a hermit at the time because of his phobia of germs. Experts think that his fear started in childhood thanks to his mother's fear of him contracting polio. He used to burn his clothes if he thought someone near him might be sick, and spend most of his time closed off in that hotel room with tissue boxes on his feet because he thought they'd keep the germs off him. All this while never brushing his teeth or bathing. That's a sure sign of a real eccentric in my opinion. His estate is worth $2.5 billion, or about $11 billion today if you adjust for inflation. But even though he died way back in 1976, and all the money is just sitting there, people are still trying to hunt down his last will and testament. A couple documents have surfaced and been dismissed, but one, which could possibly be his true will, is just as weird as you'd expect. It entitles a gas station attendant to 1/16 of his estate because he gave him a ride a couple of years earlier. Yep, sounds like something Hughes would do.